Welcome to Driven by Janelle, the podcast where passion meets power and women take the lead on two wheels. What drives you to ride?
Today's guest brings decades of riding experience and a deep commitment to motorcycle safety. Jake is a safety director for the Seattle HOG Chapter and a passionate advocate for rider preparedness. He's been riding off and on for over 50 years and now cruises the Pacific Northwest on his 2024 Harley-Davidson Street Bob. On April 26th, he'll be participating in a Road Guardians accident scene management class, sponsored by us, Driven by Janelle, to become a certified instructor and further support the safety and education of the riding community. Let's dive into his story, his role with HOG, and why he believes rider safety starts before the kickstands go up. So let's go ahead and welcome you, Jake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, little clarification. I have been riding off and on for over 50 years, but I've been active, very active the last 3. I took a few years off between the early 2000s and 3 years ago. So
It's still a long. I mean, you started when you were like 5. So
no. No, I got my first bike when I was 15.
Okay.
So
well, no, we know your age, but yes.
Oh, I'm an old man. I don't mind.
Yeah. What was your first bike?
A Honda 305.
Oh.
A guy owed me some money for some work I did for him, and he gave me the bike. He said, "I'm going to give you your motorcycle." I was all excited. I got the bike, but the motor was in boxes, so I had to put it together myself.
And you just did that?
Yeah.
Just how'd you know? I mean, at 15, I imagine there wasn't YouTube or...
No, there wasn't. So there was a lot of manuals, and I knew some mechanics and other people that worked on bikes, so they taught me what I needed to do, and I rebuilt it and had a lot of fun with it, and had a lot of plans for it, but my mother sold it on me while I was away in the Navy.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got a custom bike for so
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, that's cool. So what was so you rode when you were 15,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like. And then you said you stopped. I guess how long did you ride before you stopped riding?
I rode off and on over the years. I was living in Key West, Florida in the early 2000s. So had a bike down there. It wasn't a Harley, it was a Virago, but that is one of the unsafest places to ride on the planet, because you have so many tourists that are rubbernecking everywhere that they're not paying attention to where they're going. And then you got the little old blue-haired ladies that are down there that are snowbirds.
Yeah.
They don't see your bike in the parking space and they think it's empty. And then you come out and your bike's sitting on the side and wrecked. So, yeah.
So is that when you were like, maybe don't ride in Key West?
No, I stopped riding the bike in Key West. I sold the bike, and then I had to move up here after getting wiped out by Hurricane Wilma. And if you get wiped out by a hurricane, you have pretty much lose everything. I was rebuilding.
Yeah.
So I was more focused on getting everything else, going in my life rather than getting a motorcycle. And then once I got to a point to where I wanted to ride, I was going to get one, then a car accident got in the way of that. And then I had to recuperate. And after I recuperated, I was like, everybody thought I was crazy for wanting to ride a motorcycle after my car accident. But my choice at the time was either get busy living or get busy dying. So I went back and started from scratch. Went to all the classes WMST has to offer, had a great instructor by the name of Chuck, got me where I need to be.
So is it your car accident that inspired your focus on safety?
When I was in the Keys, I was a dive instructor, and I was a dive medic. So safety was already in me, and I knew motorcycling is a lot like diving. It has its inherent dangers, so you have to be aware of those. Be prepared for the worst. Like we say, ride like you're invisible, because
pretty much are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from diving, and then now you're the safety director. So what was that line like for you?
Well, I had to quit diving in 2004 because pneumonia left one of my lungs damaged. And then when I bought my Harley here in Jet City, we got a free membership with the HOG Chapter. And I was already involved with WMST. I was at that time looking to take the instructor course, and I wanted to commingle the two things. And it's like, while I'm getting this information from WMST, how about sharing it with the chapter? And that's how that transition took place.
Okay.
So.
Very cool. I feel like you just maybe had instructorness just in your bones, like to want to convey knowledge. Not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to do that.
Well, it's conveying knowledge, but at the same time, it's making sure that people you hang out with and have fun with go home every day.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Not everyone does that, you know?
Well, I'm a big believer in karma. So whatever you put out there, you get back. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you a little bit more questions, but if you had to look back, how has your relationship with writing changed since, you're building your Honda when you're 15?
In a word,
now?
maturity. Even when I rode in Key West before I started riding in Seattle, I took things for granted. You're still at an age where, I mean, when you're a teenager and you're younger and you're 20, you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And I didn't realize what I didn't know then.
Mm-hmm.
And then with what I've learned in recent years, that would say the biggest thing. I would wear, a jacket. In the Keys, it's hot. So you wear a jacket and, you wear your jeans, but you don't realize how dangerous a fall can be, and having the right gear on, how it can save you lots of pain, save you lots of surgery, skin grafts and such.
What is the gear you normally wear when you ride?
Well, on a day like today where it's going to be warm, this is a vintage shirt jacket. It has padding here. On the inside, it's got Kevlar. I've got different gear. I've got a sweatshirt that has similar, but it's thicker and a little warmer. And then I have a leather jacket that has that. On the bottom half of me, I have jeans on that have Kevlar lined. They're padded knees, padded hips, but right now I'm wearing chaps over those, so to block the wind. So
yeah, that's double. Not everyone does that either. So,
no. Media has played a lot into motorcycle riding. You see shows like Sons of Anarchy, where you got that kid that's got the white tennis shoes on. And you can tell just looking at his shoes, if anybody's ever ridden a bike, what a shifter will do to your shoes. Mm-hmm. That black rubber will leave a mark on you never saw that on his tennis shoes.
You should let them know.
Yeah.
The accuracy is
so
accurate.
I mean, there are things that people that ride pay attention to and notice that was a big soap opera as far as I was concerned, but it wasn't an accurate reflection of riders or clubs. I mean, it gave clubs more of a bad reputation. And I mean, motorcycle clubs, you have different variants. You have 1% clubs, you have the 99%. But of all the people I've met in the 1% world, I've never had a problem. They've always, been courteous and nice. So.
Mm-hmm. I would say my new experience, just in the motorcycle world, everyone's really welcoming. Everyone's really inviting. It's a great community. I think it's a stronger community than I think any other community that I've tried to enter into.
Well, it's kind of like, here at Jet City, it's funny. I spent so much time here. My wife said I should get a job here because she says, at least then on your days off, you'd be at home. The thing of it was, I was like, one day I was talking to one of the guys that work here and they said, Jake, you're family. And the biker community, I mean, you get to know one another. You call each other brothers. You call each other sisters. It is like a family knit type of community. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just think in this day and age, everything's so divisive. So like to be able to come together regardless of backgrounds or things like that and have brothers and sisters and feel like family, it's not something you take for granted.
No, it's not. And, you're right. We do live in a divided society, but even more so, I noticed one day a commercial on television. It was a little kid. He was like first or second grade age, and his parents were on their phones at the table. And he looked at them and he's like, they're not even paying attention. He says, we have a field trip to Mars. And one of the parents says, okay, is there a form we have to sign? And it just goes to show we're not paying attention to one another. I mean, we're so busy on these things. And one of the great things about writing is you don't have time to pay attention to that. You don't have the luxury of distracted driving. Mm-hmm. I say motorcycle riding is a great cure or treatment for ADD and ADHD because you're forced to be in the moment and be aware of everything around you and other riders and other drivers. And people will be on their phones in their cages being cars. They may not see you. And little things that people don't realize in their cars. because of the size of the vehicle you're in, their side view mirror that they're looking in the back may be blocking their ability to see you in on the other side coming across. So there's lots of things you have to be aware of that people in cars take for granted.
Yeah.
You can't afford to.
Yeah, I feel like it's risking your life when you ride, but it's just because people aren't aware, and it takes a certain level of skill set to be a defensive driver in a car, but to be a defensive driver on a motorcycle is.
I read that there's a couple of countries in Europe, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, require you to get a motorcycle license before you get a car license. Because the intensity of riding and what you have to do while you're riding, it makes a difference when you drive your car. You become more aware in your car because you just carry that over from motorcycle riding. There's lots of times where I'll see a car, and I know on my bike I'll maybe swerve a little bit to make sure I don't get hit, but I catch myself doing that in my car from time to time too. So, but I'm also aware that I don't have as much room to move in my truck as I do on my bike. So
Yeah, it's a little different, but I'll say the same way. Like once I started riding, I think every single thing is just heightened. Like when I apply my brakes, I'm like, okay, how much brakes am I applying? When I'm swerving, how far ahead I'm looking. If countries are making people do motorcycles before cars, for one, it's going to make the car drivers more aware of motorcycles because they'll know what it's like to be on there. As before I rode a motorcycle, I just thought motorcycles were loud for no reason.
yeah, because you may not see me, but if I open up my throttle loud enough, you're going to hear me.
Yeah, like, where's that coming from?
There are different schools of thoughts on the saying "loud pipes save lives," but I think that they make a difference. So no, I'm not. I don't have the exhaust on my bike to be obnoxious or to be mean or I'm showing off. Check me out on my Harley. No, it's so that people know I'm there.
Because on cars, you see the people that they put the exhaust on the cars and all that, and you're like, oh, this is just, it's not necessary, and you just think that translates over to motorcycles, but there's a purpose for motorcycles.
Yes, there is a purpose.
Yeah. So as safety director for the Seattle HOG Chapter, what are your biggest safety concerns you're seeing out on the road today?
Well, besides drivers not paying attention, we talked about my car accident. The lady told the police that she was looking over her shoulder for traffic to change lanes, but she was obviously texting and driving. So I'm hyper aware of people texting and driving. And if I see somebody, if I'm next to somebody on my bike and I see them on their phone, I'll literally tap on their glass and say, "Get off that thing," and they'll be, yeah. So and I'll sometimes be glad I'm not a cop. So texting and driving, distracted driving. You see all these things. For the chapter, I want the people in my chapter to be better riders, to be more aware. They took a class at WST that just got started. It's an advanced rider class. Chapter director, he has a Buell and he has a Harley. And he did not know he could ride his Harley like he rides his Buell. I think you're going to be interviewing him later. That's Dwayne. But these guys, they have what they call baggers, the big bikes with the bags, side saddlebags. And they didn't know that they could lean those things. They didn't know how they could stop those things. And these guys have been riding for, all of them well over 20 years. And they didn't realize that the machine pays attention to the rider, not the other way around. And there's a lot of science and physics to it. And there's all this new knowledge coming forward. So I want to convey that to other riders, people in my chapter and people out there in the world, and also be aware of the people that just can't seem to put their technology down.
Yeah, I think I've only ridden for a while, but I feel like motorcycle, it's like a constant learning. It's a constant learning, constant training, constant taking safety into consideration, but you're having to, it's not like you learn it and you're done learning or you're done.
Riding is a diminishing skill. And I say that if you get off your bike in the fall and you don't get back on it until the spring, you're not nearly as good a rider in May as you were in September. You've got to relearn stuff because it's, you can still balance the bike and all that stuff, but it's, when they say on a bicycle, once you learn, you always know how to ride. knowing how to ride is relative. Being able to, keep the bike upright is one thing, but getting comfortable leaning again, it's a diminishing skill. If you don't do it regularly, you lose certain things. And the one thing motorcycles and diving have in common is you need to have continuous training. It's not get your permit, get your endorsement, and then you're done. With diving, too many people will get their diving certification and they'll never get anything else. And then 20 years later, they put on gear and they get underwater and they forgot all that basic stuff they learned 20 years ago. And that's where accidents happen underwater. The same thing with motorcycling. You get your endorsement, you don't take any other classes, and you don't realize all the things that have changed, all the science that deals with motorcycles and riding. And then you get out there and you have an accident. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's critical. It's not like a motorcycle accidents. There's no easy way to have a motorcycle accident.
No. And you don't even have to be moving to be in an accident. There was a bad accident last year. It was actually, ironically, a memorial ride. And traffic stopped, somebody not paying attention, slammed on their brakes. The person behind them slammed on those, but didn't stop in time, basically did a pit maneuver on the second car, sent them into a line of motorcycles, and 2 people ended up being airlifted to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my car accident, I was at a dead stop when I got hit. So you don't even have to be moving to be in an accident.
Yeah, it's the other drivers, it's the other cars, it's the environment you're in.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want it taken for granted that 70% of motorcycle accidents are single vehicle accidents on sunny days and dry roads.
On a curve.
On a curve. Yeah. So it's not always the other guy.
Yeah.
That's why training is so important. I mean, there's motorcyclists going across the West Seattle Bridge, went in that curve too hot. And now his family is going to go into his funeral. So,
yeah. Well, it's why you're a big proponent of safety.
Yes.
So yes. I guess I kind of already know this, but why do you think accident scene management is something every rider should be familiar with?
I would say even drivers should be familiar with, because more often than not, you'll see a situation where your help is needed. When I was a dive medic, I had the equivalent training of an EMT, and if I saw somebody on the side of the road that needed my help, whether it was on a motorcycle or not, I would pull over and make sure everybody's okay, stick around until help got there. But I think the most critical component of accident scene management is that time between the accident actually happening and paramedics arriving. There's this thing about, they call it a golden hour. And it doesn't start when the paramedics get there. It starts when the injury occurs. And if there's no one there, say you've had an accident and there's a vein that's broken and there's blood going everywhere. If you don't know how to apply a tourniquet, or if you don't know how to bandage a wound, that can make a difference in whether that person even lives long enough to get in the ambulance. So
keeping people alive, like you said, in between the accident and when the paramedics get there.
Yeah.
It's critical. Yeah. It's scary too. It's a very scary time.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not for everybody. There's some people that are squeamish at the sight of blood, but with me, I'm one of those. It just, something instinctive kicks in. I know what to do. And then afterwards, it's kind of like, oh, now I can breathe. It's just, it's almost like you're on autopilot when you're in these situations. And after we took the class, our chapter took the class with Chuck, I ended up in an incident where I'm on an exit off a highway and I'm on my way home. And you know what a dually is?
I don't.
You ever see a pickup truck that's got 2 sets of wheels in the back?
Yeah.
That's a dually.
Okay.
So one of his tires blew and he was right in front of me. And it just, I saw it. I didn't immediately panic, but I knew how to maneuver because of what, Chuck and WMST had taught us. And then I pulled over. The truck driver and I made sure each other were okay. And then I'm like, I did that. Wow. Okay. Yeah. You react and then you freak out.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a good order to put it in.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather panic afterwards than panic during. So, because panic can get you killed.
especially on a motorcycle.
Yeah. And one of the things that, teaching excellence in management and first aid, what I think is important, they don't talk about it as much as they do with diving or with lifeguards even. But there is, if you see a panic, if you're dealing with a panic person, that person can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You see a panic person out there, lifeguards, they're Australian lifeguards. They have a technique where basically they see a panic person out in the water. They come up from behind them. They'll either put them in a chokehold or they'll knock them out cold to bring them back to shore safely. Because the first thing a panic person wants to do is hold down on you to try and stay above water. Well, if you've got somebody panicked in a motorcycle accident, they could be grabbing on you and moving in ways that could harm them and harm you.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just knock them out.
No. I don't advocate what Australian lifeguards do, but I can understand why they do it.
All right. Well, that's what I took away from that. So
Okay.
So yes. So, okay. So you're getting certified at the upcoming Road Guardians class on April 26th. What are you looking forward to the most about that training?
What's changed since it's the last time I took formal training? I've kept my Red Cross CPR and first aid and AED and stuff. I've kept that up. But this is a little bit more specific to motorcycles. Doctors in emergency rooms don't always know how to remove a helmet. And for years, we've been told that don't remove a helmet, you can cause further injury. I've heard of stories where people have had their fractured skulls and they take the helmet off and their brain is exposed. So when I found out about this training, I was like, wow, this is something that's special, and yeah, we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the methodology they use for breathing assisting and all that, some of the stuff that I've already looked over with the training materials. Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because it's new and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like going from junior high school to high school. You get all excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Algebra 1, Algebra 2.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. But yeah. I guess, how do you hope to use your certification to help riders after this class?
To be honest, I hope I never have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be there to, see somebody injured. I don't want to be there to see a fatality. It's not a pretty scene. So yeah, I hope I never have to use it, but if in the event that I do, I'm able to utilize it in a way that I can go visit that person in the hospital afterwards.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess and we may have covered it, but I'll ask anyways.
Okay.
What's one piece of safety advice you wish riders took more seriously?
All the gear all the time.
Especially in the summer months.
Yeah, gear. Let's face it. I mean, this is the lightest thing I've got. There's a T-shirt that I'm getting that is Kevlar lined and it has padding and it's a little bit more comfortable and not as thick as this. I mean, I can open this up and as long as I'm moving. Rush hour traffic, that's a challenge because you're not moving and you got the gear on and it's hot. But there's stuff that's all kinds of weather friendly. I mean, you can go to any number of motorcycle shops, dealerships, Amazon even, and find the gear that's appropriate, but that will help keep you safe during a ride.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. And riding, it's so important to stay sharp mentally and physically. How do you stay sharp mentally and physically for your rides?
There is a racer. I learned about him when I was working in WMST's instructor course. And before each race, he has this routine he does. He gets down in front of his bike. People think he's praying to his bike, but no, he's psyching himself for the race. So I mean, I physically, I stretch and make sure, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm an old man. The joints don't move as easy as they used to. But I do my stretching and I make sure I get comfortable and, got my gear where I need it to be. And then I'll like walk out in my driveway and I'll look down the street and I'll prepare myself. This is what I've got to do. Before that, there's a routine I do with my bike. I check my air pressure. I check all these other things. But for the actual ride, I'm just kind of staring at the road going, that's where I'm going and this is where I'm coming back to. And that's my mantra, so to speak. I'm going to go where I got to go and I am coming back. So
that's a good.
I can't think about what might happen. I don't want to be focused on the negative. I want to say, I'm going to have a great ride. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to come back home. So
that's a good thing to put out there too.
Yeah.
Speak it out into truth. And I just have to ask, just for me as a woman rider, I guess, have you seen like in the last 50 years, like more women riders on the road or even more women riders buying bikes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes with the genders over the years. And years ago, women were considered, they'd be sitting on the back seat. But women have made a lot of progress in the last years. And, they are just as competent riders. I mean, women tend to be more practical. You'll see the guy, he wants to go buy the fancy bike or the fancy car, and all that and impress his friends. But the woman, she'll go out there and she'll look at her budget. She'll look at all these things and she'll make a practical choice. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it may not be all about, getting the biggest engine and starting the fastest and,
Right. Yeah. And the practicality of riding something that you're comfortable on. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they get on a bike they're not ready for. Like I said earlier, even though I had been riding off and on for years, when I started riding again, I started off with a smaller bike. I started off with a Sportster. Unfortunately, somebody liked that bike a little bit more than me, and so I didn't get to keep it long. But then I moved up to the next step. Whether I go beyond this step or not, I don't know, because like I said, I'm getting older and I'm realizing what my limitations are. I'm not 10 feet tall and bulletproof teenager anymore. So do I want to move up from a 500-pound bike to an 800-pound bike? Maybe not. I mean, the one I've got has got the same engine. I don't need all the bells and whistles. And I know a lot of old school riders that, I don't need modes on my bike. If you want all that, go get you an SUV. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, and I the one that brings to mind something other, that people get a lot of these bikes with all the fancy new features and they become dependent on the features and not on their own riding abilities.
Yeah.
So
that's a little that would make me nervous.
Yeah.
It's all about skills on the bike.
Yeah, because I know people that buy newer bikes and take all that stuff off of them too. So.
Interesting. Yeah. What does being part of the riding community mean for you at this stage of your riding?
It's an outlet. It's fun. I mean, of course, but it's an outlet to something other than chores at home and responsibilities at work. It's an outlet. It's escape. It's like being on a vacation without leaving town.
Yeah.
So.
That's nice. Staycation.
Yeah. I mean,
ridecation.
If you, I hope to make a trip down to Mexico one day. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I know later in July, we're riding over to Spokane.
Yeah.
I mentioned Chuck earlier. I'm going to try and talk him into making a ride down to Bend, Oregon with me.
Yeah.
Him being an instructor, though, riding with him is kind of nervous because, I know he's watching my every move.
He's evaluating
and I'm like, I'm scared of messing up. So, if
let
I
him
can
ride in front of you, maybe.
Yeah, I'll let him ride in front and say, here's where we're going. You ride in front and I'll follow you.
Yeah, you know best. You know the way.
Yeah. So, but I hope to make a trip down to Bend, Oregon. But I mean, I've done a few loops around the Olympics, and if I've had a rough week at work, I have this little loop I'll do from Tacoma through the east side in Bellevue, back to Highway 18 and back around to Tacoma. One day I got so into the ride and I ended up, and this was in January, mind you, I ended up at the pass. And the skiers are looking at me like, who's this crazy guy on a motorcycle? The roads were in good shape. So,
yeah. You just ended up there. You just,
yeah.
Hypnotized by the road.
Well, I wasn't completely hypnotized, but I was just enjoying it so much that I'm like, I'm really enjoying this, and just kind of blew past my exit. So
there you go. It happens.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you think about your role in this like safety space, what do you hope to leave behind? Is like your legacy, or
I hope that somebody takes away the information I've shared with them and has been able to utilize it, to help them, and that they can pass that same information on to others. A lot of stuff gets communicated word of mouth, even though we live in a society full of technology. Um, that's one other thing great about the biker community. We actually talk to one another.
Yeah.
I
In
mean,
real life.
we have meetings once a month, and we have conversations face to face. None of this constantly texting and all that. So that's. But a lot of us are also old school. We've been around, and we're used to talking to each other. The younger community, on the other hand, I hope they learn to talk to one another instead of texting. But.
Yeah. Was there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to share or to put out there? I do quickly want to thank Jet City for allowing us to film the podcast here. We really just appreciate having your support. So.
Oh, Jet City is. Tell you how I fell into Jet City. I knew I wanted to go riding. I knew what kind of bike I wanted to get. And I'm not going to call out any other dealerships by name, but I went to several dealerships in the area. And then I came to Jet City. And Jet City, I don't know how to put it into words. It just felt right. The staff here was super great. They weren't pushy. And I had settled on a bike, and I was just about to buy it. And my wife and I have a place down in Mexico, and we heard that there'd been a hurricane went through there. So I'm like, oh my God, before I buy a bike, let me go see how much money this is going to cost me. And they're like, cool, yeah, no pressure. Worked out to my advantage, because when I came back, the bike was $2,000 less.
Yeah.
So it all worked out in the name. But I mean, it's like I said, I spend so much time here. My wife wants me to work here, if that tells you anything. So, because she says, then you'll spend your days off at home and not there. But it's a great place to go if you just want to go out for a quick ride and hang out for a bit, have a cup of coffee, and talk to people. And then there's Brat, he's a mascot here. Yeah, everybody loves him here. So, and to those listening, Brat is 13 pounds of fur. That he's people, but he just happens to have 4 legs and a tail. So.
Yes.
But he's a mascot here. I can let him off the leash, and he can run around. He plays with the staff, and and
I actually heard him like selling people a couple bikes the other day.
Really?
Yeah, he did a great job.
Well, I have to talk to Brian about his commission check then. Yeah. I mean, about time you start paying for his room and board.
Did a great job.
Yes.
So well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, we appreciate everyone here at Jet City. I appreciate you just working with us and getting to know us, and working with Road Guardians. And for me as an attorney, a personal injury attorney, I just appreciate anyone like emphasizing safety, because as much as I love having my job, it's always hard. It's always hard calls, and it's always hard talking with family and explaining everything after the fact. So.
One of the things I appreciate about you personally, I've been around more than my share of attorneys in my lifetime, professionally and otherwise. You come across as a person, not as a lawyer. So that's very much in your favor, because let's face it, lawyers don't have the best reputation out there.
Yeah, which I really didn't know before I became a lawyer. But I mean, everyone's a person. Lead with empathy, understanding. But either way, I still appreciate it. Learning how to ride a motorcycle, I thought it was easy. I don't know why I thought that. And it's a huge skill set. And just to tell you, Jake, I'm more book smart than like any other kind of smart. So like anything that involves like hand-eye coordination, it's just a little tougher. So I really
You're going to ride with us to Spokane in July. You know that, right?
I know. I appreciate the support, because, behind a desk, I'm fantastic. But,
you're going to be on the road. You're going to be on 90 eastbound going there, and you'll have people around you to make sure. Yeah. And then once you make that trip there and back, and you realize it's challenging, but it's not as hard as people think it is. Lots of times people think things are worse than they really are until they
Mhm.
actually do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, all fingers crossed, and I'll be working with Chuck before then. So.
Oh, yeah. Chuck will get you
Mhm.
ready.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a great instructor. And one of the things that most people appreciated about him is the mindset you have. He gives that level of reassurance, that level of self-confidence that you can do this.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. No, one lesson I felt a lot better.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for being on the podcast.
Yes.
So, I appreciate it.
Glad to
And
be here.
yeah. And I think that's all, guys. So we always do.
Bye.
Yep.
2 wheels down, everybody.